Game theory. If you've ever wondered about the secrets hidden in your favorite games, the lore behind a protagonist's past, or how a game is secretly about a dead person, then this is a channel you have watched for over a decade. Whether exploring the vast lore of Minecraft or piecing together the craziest FNAF conspiracies, this channel covered it all. But sadly, game theory is now game over. Or at least it is for its founder and the resident game theorist himself, MatPat. After almost 15 years of being on the YouTube and saying, "Hello, Internet," he is finally bowing out and saying goodbye. A pillar of the YouTube lineup and a powerhouse of the content creator community, not seeing his strangely MS Paint distorted image on the site anymore will be a sad loss. But what are we losing with the end of his career? What did MatPat do as a streamer? Why was he so successful? How did his videos hook us in and never let us go? And why does he think he's smarter than me? I mean, he is, but shut up. Let's take a look at the history of game theory, of MatPat, his career, his streams, his videos, and see if we can determine what legacy he is leaving behind, both ourselves and the loyal theorists. This is Streamer Chronicles, and this is MatPat. Matthew Patrick, aka MatPat as we know him, uploaded his first video to his YouTube site August 23rd, 2009. Now, those loyal theorists out there that have watched Matt for a while know that I'm talking nonsense. He didn't upload his first theory video until April 14th, 2011. And you are correct, he did. But this video I'm referring to is not a game theory. It was something else. Entirely.
Why go shopping?
What are you going to the shops for? I do the shopping.
I know. I do all the shopping now. I want to make sure everyone knows about my baby. Mrs. J, we must make this a binding agreement.
In the name of Jesus, the thing was done. Now there's no going back for anyone. It's too late now for feeling torn. There's a pact been sealed. There's a deal been born.
Young Matt, first and foremost, before becoming the theorist we all know and love, was a theater geek. Theater actually being one of the two majors he took in college at Duke University, the other being neuroscience. Gee, I wonder where his nerdish love of research and analytics come from. His love of theater is on full display, as all of his earliest videos on the Game Theory channel are audition videos. These clips and videos reach back to before he was counting toes on animatronics and memorizing pixels on a neighbor's lawn. This was when he was obsessed with stage and acting as part of a small acting troupe where he performed in multiple different plays. His channel initially served as a portfolio for his potential future employers or talent scouts. Which, speaking of his acting talents, they are okay.
You think that when I meet my maker, hello maker, that cat will be all dressed in red.
Let's just say I'm glad his theorizing took off. These auditions, uploads, continued for several months, which during this time Matt tells us he was mostly unemployed and searching for what to do with his life. Despite acing his SATs in high school, getting a perfect 1600, who the hell does that, and having a double major, no one seemed willing to look at him for a position of responsibility. Instead of seeing the intensely intelligent man that he was, they all just saw a green kid, somebody that they felt was too inexperienced to trust. Relatable mood, eh? I think that's something we have all experienced once or twice before, am I right? However, that all changed on March 23rd, 2011, with the publishing of a video called Tangential Learning from the YouTube channel Extra Credits. The 36th episode of Extra Credits, a relatively new channel at the time, Tangential Learning proved to be a truly inspiring bit of viewing for Matt. Tangential learning in layman's terms is not educating directly through instruction, but rather through exposure, showing someone something in a way that will inspire them to learn more about it later through personal research, facilitating learning rather than forcing it. Extra Credits advocated that gaming could be a great tool for tangential learning. that they had educational potential due to all the hidden subtext and references in history, science, and culture that they contain. And I believe this part here of the video, Matt took to heart more than any other.
Games can be more than a mere diversion. When we put down the controller, we should have the opportunity to bring something from our recreation into our lives.
So there was Matt, inspired to think and look back at all the video games that he had loved and played in the past, thinking to himself, I wonder, how much of this learning is in the games that I have played? And thus, Game Theory began. Less than a month later, Matt put out a trailer video for a new series of videos he wanted to create, the very first Game Theories. And only 4 days later, he did just as he promised. On April 18, 2011, the very first video of Game Theory was published. Game Theory is Chrono Trigger's time travel accurate. And we got to hear those very famous words for the very first time.
Hello Internet, and welcome to Game Theory, gaming's tangential learning experience.
Although we would not get to hear the other even more famous quote,
It's just a theory, a game theory.
until his second video, Super Mario Pipe Dreams, as it is noticeably absent from his first publishing. And that was it, right? Off to the races. In no time, he was sitting on a golden throne in YouTube's hallowed halls of success, sipping mint juleps and raking in the money, right? Well, no. The video, though having millions of views as of now, was only his first start, and like many first starts, was not a very successful one. Though funny and informative and already showing signs of patent MatPat-isms that he would become famous for, it is admittedly very low quality. The video is at best compared to a glorified PowerPoint presentation. It has hard sound quality, heavy background noises, and ear-splittingly random jumps of volume between different audio bites that go from whisper quiet to God help you if you have earphones on.
And alternate timelines, but now is not the time to touch on string theory. We'll save that for when we talk about Kirby's Epic Yarn.
But this video was early for him. He has fully admitted that he had no clue what he was doing. This video was so early, in fact, that this is before a time he understood the term.
Normalize your audio.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not piling on to him. No one should be held responsible for their first art. Many artists and creators start somewhere, and few of them start as experts at the top of their craft. Those that start as amateurish can very quickly grow to god tier, so I will not criticize too much. His next few published videos continue to improve, even if only slightly. The video production quality increases, and he eventually stops sounding like he is recording from the inside of a tin can, even though a certain background noise persists and is still triggering my OCD.
Have yet to cover the thinking gamer genre, strategy.
But it is not until August 17, 2011, in the video game theory BioShock Ryan Andrews Underwater City, that we get our first introduction to an intro that lives rent-free in all of our heads. The intro music, Science Blaster Chiptune Tuesday by Spelling Failure, was a wonderful change of pace for his openings. This change most likely came about after he realized that constantly playing the Billboard Top 100 for his videos might end up getting him in a bit of trouble. But hey, I like Huey Lewis in the news too, so I ain't gonna knock him for it. He also changed his classic intro card just a month earlier, giving us the well-known and loved Koopa Math intro. It was also around this time that Matt started working with Screw Attack website in late 2011, which helped him to launch Game Theory and slowly expand its growth, being shown on both YouTube and Screw Attack sites, greatly boosting his exposure to viewers. But he also began to work with other streamers through his channel as well. In 2012, Matt teamed up with up-and-coming YouTubers Gaijin Goomba and the late Ronnie Edwards. Together, they began to develop cooperative sections on their own video style, having a similar lean as Game Theory, looking introspectively into video games with Gaijin's Game Exchange videos and Ronnie's digressing and side questing. Not to mention Ronnie took over Matt's video editing, greatly improving the quality and helping him streamline the process. Matt also made another interesting upgrade to his opening in his MK Ultra video, putting a bit more polish on his legendary Running Mario animation video, which in this first appearance we can actually hear Mario jump. Something that is oddly not heard ever again. Fun little fact there. It was also in 2012 that Matt began to experiment with live in-person theory videos. No animation editing required. But the big ticket of that year, in Matt's own words, his big breakthrough, came on December 1st, 2012, with the video How Fast is Sonic the Hedgehog? A massive hit that got him millions of views and drove up his channel subscriptions. By September of the next year, 2013, Game Theory had reached 500,000 subs, and only 3 months later, doubled that to 1 million. It seemed like Matt's ship had finally come in. He must have thought he had reached his peak. He couldn't get any bigger. But when it looked just like that, something happened. Something beyond game theory. Something big. Something that would change the entire internet, YouTube, and especially game theory, forever. On August 8, 2014, Five Nights at Freddy's was published by Scott Cawthon, a failed Christian video game developer. Scott, after being told multiple times by players of his game that his character designs were the creepiest thing they'd ever seen, decided to try his hand out at making a scary game, thus creating Five Nights at Freddy's. And when he did that, it took over the internet. Five Nights at Freddy's, or FNAF as it's called by its fans, is a video game about possessed animatronics trying to murder a stationary protagonist stuck in the most oddly wired office in the world. And it was a phenomenon that no one could have predicted. And no one could have predicted its effects it would have on the creator sphere on YouTube. Anyone and everyone was playing it. Everyone had a video on it, reactions, playthroughs, speedruns, parodies, animation, music videos, and more, all massively boosting the careers, if not wholesale creating them, of many streamers. And MatPat was no exception. Publishing his take on the FNAF story, October 23, 2014, Five Nights at Freddy's, Scariest Monster Is You, Matt takes a look at the game and sees it as a play on a horrible grouping of murders in the 1990s that occurred at Chuck E. Cheese. Whether it was because his fanbase crossed paths with the FNAF fanatics, or just because he released a spooky video so near Halloween, Matt's video exploded. With a current count of over 33 million views, it crushes his second highest viewed video published before it, Rosalina Unmasked Part 2 Super Mario Galaxy, which comes in at a distant second of 17 million views. Already a rising star, the FNAF obsession only accelerated game theory's ascension, while also unfortunately labeling Matt as the FNAF theorist at the same time. Or maybe it was fortunate thing considering ever since he has milked the FNAF fandom for over 100 separate videos. Hey, when something is almost a sixth of your content, you're kinda get known for it. But as the FNAF frenzy started to wind down, as much as it ever has, more and more Matt began to branch out of his niche content and discuss things in his theories outside of video games. Every now and then you would see him lean into a theory more movie-oriented rather than game, which we can see as far back as his video Duke Nukem 80s Action Star, only his 9th game theory. But he really brings this interest in movie theories to full fruition in Why Video Game Movies Suck, on June 2nd of 2015, where he announces the creation of Film Theory, his first dedicated channel to break away from the game theory formula. Though it was a risk to change from talking about games, the thing that made him so popular, it was one that paid off. Only a month or so later, by the 6th of July, Film Theory was at 1 million subscribers. Matt's obvious skill and talent for cracking the YouTube code was finally noticed by the industry too, as on September 17, 2015, he was nominated for the Streamy Awards in the category of Gaming and Editing. See what I told you about starting amateurish and getting better? But unfortunately, he lost out to PewDiePie in gaming and Epic Rap Battles of History for editing, which, if you saw those channels back then, I think you could understand. That October, Matt started GT Live, his channel for all of his game theory streams and live playthroughs, which his very first video was about, you guessed it, FNAF. And just to give you an idea of how popular both he and FNAF were at the time, that stream, the number of people watching and commenting crashed the servers and ended the stream early, forcing them to restream it again at a later date. That's just in case any of you out there think that Matt and FNAF weren't that big of a deal. They were. Meanwhile, in the real world, away from all the possessed puppets and animatronics, Matt, along with 11 other YouTubers, including the likes of Louise Pentland of Sprinkle Glitter Beauty Channel and James Perkins from the James Perkins Vlogs, were invited to meet with the Pope Francis in Vatican City, Rome, on May 31st, 2016. The meeting happened toward the end of the Scholas Occurrentes World Congress in Rome, the same event where the Pope also met with a group of movie stars including Salma Hayek and George Clooney. The discussions ranged from immigrant rights to gender equality and diversity, but Matt's question stood out. Matt asked the Pope about the anger that the Pope had engendered amongst some of his followers and discussed about fighting for what's right. He added to his message by following an old custom for meeting the Pope to give him a gift, which Matt did by gifting the Pontiff a copy of the game Undertale. Undertale, a 2D pixelated role-playing game released in 2015 by indie creator Toby Fox, with a fan base of fanaticism that rivals that of FNAF, has a story focused on forgiveness, mercy, and pacifism. as long as you don't play the genocide route. Matt gave this gift to the Pope in a callback to the Pope's own call for a year of mercy that he proclaimed a few months earlier. I can only imagine that Matt wanted to show the Pope what he always shows on Game Theory, that games like Undertale could get a message across better than many other methods. The core element of mercy and being a major impact on those that played it. Again, as long as you don't engage Psycho Killer mode. But all that said, message and love whatnot aside, I have to say I'm impressed that he could actually make it to Rome for the meeting considering how much he hates flying.
I'm afraid of flying. I said it there. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, but it's true. I am so scared each and every time I step on an airplane.
Heading back to the US, hopefully not tranquilized to get through the flight, Matt was ready to make more videos, and he had something new in mind. On June 8, 2016, Matt debuted GameLab, debuting on YouTube's new premium service of the time, YouTube Red. GameLab was a live-action testing of video game theories and concepts and how they play out in the real world. Which, to me, I always saw it as the streamer equivalent of Mythbusters, but hey, that's just my take on it. Along with that, Matt also guest starred on another YouTube Red series, Scare PewDiePie, on September 3rd, 2016, where along with fellow guest star, Aaron Hansen of Game Grumps, they attempted to navigate a real-life Five Nights at Freddy's and escape with their lives, which Matt didn't make it that far.
Just spring! Where do I take this thing?
That's right, Matt is the guy that starts out the horror movie's beginning that could probably save everyone, but gets killed first. Guy seems destined for cameos. Later that year, Matt was put up for the Streaming Awards again for gaming, and nominated the next year, 2017, again for editing the same categories he lost back in 2015. And he finally won both. Only a few years later, on December 11, 2021, he would be nominated for his final Streamy for writing and win that one as well. On December 3rd, 2019, Matt would hold his first ever St. Jude charity stream, raising money for the organization, which specifically focused on helping kids with debilitating sicknesses. The stream, mostly composed of Matt and his wife Stephanie hanging out with friends and colleagues, talking about their favorite theories and episodes, would be a massive hit, becoming a high mark for Matt at the time, leading to the channel reaching 12.2 million overall subs, 13 million views of the stream, and $1.3 million for the charity. It even featured a special FNAF game made just for the stream, sent by Matt's longtime Theory Roadrunner to his theorist Wile E. Coyote, Scott Cawthon.
We love Scott. Just throwing that one out there.
Matt would do this stream again 2 more times, once in 2020, streaming for over 9 hours and earning a total of $13 million, and again in 2021, earning another $1.7 million for the charity. Also during this time, Matt expanded his scope of theorizing once more on July 23, 2020 with the creation of Food Theory, another channel which, just like Film Theory, shot up in subscriptions reaching 1 million in just days. And only 3 years later, on February 23, 2023, Fashion Theory, the final of the 4 slots of the trophy icon, would fill in and complete Matt's roster of theory channels. In 2023, the industry recognized his abilities, skill, and massive influence on the streaming community by having Matt host the 13th Annual Streaming Awards in August of 2023, hosting the show at perhaps his largest and most influential audience at the time. But the big win for Matt in 2023 was arguably when he got back to his roots as an actor. Matt had never stopped being a theater geek, ever so often appearing in performances on other channels and working with friends in their productions, such as seeing 2017 Random Encounters video belting out the song Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Bendy ink machine, so amazing, it's crazy, believe me, it's true. Allow me to show what my ink machine can do.
Or having a cameo in one of the optional choice videos for Heist with Markiplier. Outside of YouTube, he also got to show his acting chops by voice acting in the Transformers movies Titan's Return and Power of the Primes from 2017 to 2018.
Statements, past falsehoods indicate probable current dishonesty.
Alongside such names as the ever-famous Mark Hamill. But perhaps his biggest acting win came on October 27, 2023, when he appeared in the live-action adaptation of Five Nights at Freddy's. Bringing all his possessed puppet theorizing to fruition, he portrayed the waiter, Ness, which has a special Easter egg significance that I'm not going to spoil here, because where's the fun in giving out all the answers?
Some people say that, but you know, it's just a theory.
As they say, it's better to go out on top if you can, and it appeared that this was what Matt was thinking when, on January 9, 2024, Matt put out a video that shocked the YouTube community. Matt declared that he intended to retire from making YouTube content. He clarified that he would still be part of the Theorizer company, but serve as a backseat guide to the channel's development, rather than the face of the channel, working from behind the scenes rather than in front of it. But overall, we would no longer see his face or hear his voice welcoming us to the internet. After a 2-month-long farewell party of final videos, in March of 2024, Matt published his last emotional video, saying farewell to the community, and walked off the YouTube stage for good. When we look back and see all that Matt did, all that he created and made as a streamer, what can we take from it? We can see his history and all that he did and streamed plain as day, but what does it all add up to? How do we quantify him? What is his legacy? Well, Matt is a paragon of the community, as I said, a true pillar of the YouTube creator sphere. But it's not because of his number of views, or his number of videos, or his obsession with video games. There are plenty of streamers out there that have done similar videos and streamers with more followers and more viewers. Matt stands out because he truly cares for the community. Multiple times he has mentioned that he was lucky in his childhood to grow up with parents and teachers that made him excited to learn. He wanted to pass that on for others to learn as well. It was his love of learning that was one of the main reasons for him to start making his videos. Had it been 20 years earlier, in 1991 instead of 2011, someone like Matt would have just gone into teaching and worked as a common high school teacher, reaching out and helping those he could, but never going beyond that. But with YouTube, he was able to reach out and touch so many more people with his videos, and make a real major difference in people's lives. Matt was a good teacher, and a good teacher loves their students like a good parent loves their children. They want to see them grow and develop and have a good environment to be nurtured in, and Matt was no different. Which is why he has always been kind and gentle in his words and manners, but he's always been very direct and forceful in his defense of the YouTube community, both of his viewers and his fellow YouTubers. He is one of the few big names to actively take a stance against YouTube or big name brands and studios that sometimes pose a threat to the content makers when their greed threatens the future of creators' livelihoods. Whether it is him taking Hollywood head-to-head with his Leave PewDiePie Alone video, or his discussion of the controversial COPA effect on YouTube and its ad revenue with Will Your Favorite Channel Survive, he has never been afraid to take on the big guy, always fighting on the side of the little guy. Outside of that, he has taken on the platform directly, challenging them on their practices with why YouTube will never fix Rewind or YouTube is ruining gaming, even asking hard-hitting questions with ex-CEO YouTube Susan Wojcicki in his one-on-one interview with her. True, these videos are very clickbaity with their titles and all, but they have a real message targeted at opposing practices that put the viewer and the content creators in a bind. With all these call-outs and all the issues he tackled, his message has never changed. It's always been, creators matter. And that's what we are losing. No longer we have Matt in his couch talking to us about the issues that face the content creators and viewers of YouTube. That will be gone. And perhaps that will be the greatest loss of all. Game Theory as a channel and a brand was sold to LunarX back in December of 2020. Matt no longer owns it, and where we did have the good old mom-pa YouTube channel fighting for the community, we may be getting a soulless corporation replacing them. And a corporation rarely cares about individuals, nor are they as dedicated and driven to helping people, unlike Matt. I have severe doubts that the brand will speak out against any failures of YouTube or the corporation. Companies are not well known for looking out for the little guys. But then again, maybe we are gaining something too. Maybe now that Matt will be behind the camera, he will also be behind the scenes and still fighting the good fight. Perhaps even more than before. We can only hope. I mean, a guy with as much net worth as him must have some pull. And from his video, I'm Building a Better YouTube, he has shown he is fighting to improve the YouTube ecosystem and working to make it the future of entertainment. And though he will no longer be saying hello to us, he will still be there, doing what he's always done, trying to help others. But I know what you're thinking. Is that it? There's so much more to talk about, so much more to discuss about Matt that I haven't mentioned. Or what about the pirate software controversy? Or his defense of PewDiePie? Or the Try Guys? Or what about his struggle with Defy Media, his personal life and family? And yes, it's true, I have left quite a few things out. That's because there is too much to speak of in a single video. Matt has hundreds of videos over the past 15 year span that he's been on the internet. It would be an enormous undertaking to do it, and I'd have to make a series of videos to cover it all. That or make a video hours long, which the YouTube algorithm demons most likely would drag into the depths for such transgressions. To try and go over it all would be impossible. And to prove that, here, let me give you the numbers. So let's do some simple math. Let's say Matt has done 600 videos, all of them at roughly 10 minutes each. In total, that's 6,000 minutes or around 100 hours of content to watch. That is an enormous amount of theorizing to take on at one time. It would take over 4 days of constant watching, or just a little over 12 working days, if you count a working day as 8 hours, to watch all of that content. I know what you're thinking. Well, that's just a lazy excuse for not watching it. And I know that you're thinking that, because you're the loyal theorists. You live off the details. You thrive on counting the most mundane points and finding facts out to the real truth of the matter. And so, knowing that you would be like that, I decided to get ahead of you and go full MatPat on this one. I counted every single video that Matt made and wrote down and calculated the combined runtime for all of his videos to give you the definitive answer on how long it would take to do a video on everything Matt has done. Starting with his first videos for the main Game Theory channel, Matt has a total of 627 videos. Yes, 627, not 681. That includes shorts and other content. Shorts are not streaming. Fight me. Add up all the runtimes of these videos and it gives you a total of 9,282 minutes or 155 hours or 6.5 days, or in working days, a little over 19 days. Whew, boy, that's a lot of MatPat. Sounds almost as long as my last Fortnite splurge. But that's just one channel. Moving on to Movie Theory, with a total of 428 videos, we find a total watch time of 6,649 minutes, 111 hours, 4.5 days, or almost 14 working days. Even Lord of the Rings Extended Cut ain't got nothing on that. Next on the menu is Food Theory and its 185 flavors of episodes, rounding out to a total of 2,928 minutes, 49 hours, or 2 days, or barely over 6 working days. Gonna need a beer after all that. Last but not least, the baby of the channels, Fashion Theory, with its adorable video count of just 49 videos, comes in at a manageable 892 minutes, 15 hours, half a day, or just under 2 working days. All added together, we get almost 1.5 months to watch all of Matt's videos. But I'm not done yet.
But wait! There's more!
Then we must not forget the biggest archive of MatPat there is. GT Live, with 1,147 videos. Someone help me. They come in at a massive 69,465 minutes, 1,158 hours, 48 days, or almost 145 working days to watch them all. With their powers combined, they total over 6 months of day in, day out MatPat watching. In the words of an ancient wisdom of the YouTube archives,
Ain't nobody got time for that!
but maybe one day I will come back to this and have the time to watch all that MatPat has ever made and give a true definitive rundown of his career. I mean, not anytime soon, unless you want to pay me to do this. But hey, that's just a theory. No, I'm not finishing it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Koibito saying, fare thee well, friends.